I have gotten repairs as low as 5 minutes, 8 minutes. This one is 11 minutes using 4 U0 no flagship unarmored Everest in the 160 Forsaken mission target. Hey everyone, Derpy here, back with another Battle Pirates video. Today I'm going to walk you through step by step how to do the 160 for instant repair in base. And I will of course show the build at the end as I always do. Start out by driving all ships stacked together against this first meteor mortar here. This one's really easy to take out. A couple shots can overwhelm your projectiles if you are running a slightly slower projectile speed build, so I like to keep moving just in case I do miss. Once that's down, you head for the second meteor mortar. Again, try and stay moving just a little bit, but be careful because you don't want to get quite too far out ahead. Again, this should go down with no damage to your fleet. From here, you're going to creep forward until you're just in range of this first building. Keep an eye out for this Hellstar, because if you do get too close to this building, the Hellstar will start shooting at you. So just get barely in range of this one, and as soon as you start shooting, you can stop. And this should allow splash damage even without a Molotov Maiden's Crew. If you have the same build I have to take out this first turret, it happens every single time. And that's one turret, one Vulture Missile you don't have to deal with when you are around on the back end. This is down, so now we can head out to the first Vulture Missile around the right side of the target. This one stays on the opposite side of the mountain, and it can't shoot over the mountain, so you're completely fine. Just make sure while you're doing this, you stay out of the range of this white ring, which is the first Brimstone Missile. These are the most powerful things in the target that you need to be worried about. If you ever stop selecting it, just hover over again and click Shift and target it so that you see the range pop up. You can actually kill this first Gore Saber with Splash completely if you have a Molotov Maiden's Crew on with my build, but there's no reason to do that because you can completely outrange this thing, stay out of range of the Gore Saber and the Brimstone Missile and kill that. Once this is dead, you're going to select one ship, move it out to the very right side, and then quickly use the arrow keys to toggle through the next 4 ships to select this meteor, to select the Brimstone Missile. You can alternatively send a pinch in on this one, but I like to save my pinch for the second one. So here we go. The downside about doing this is there are a couple things shooting at you at once here, and you need to try and get this thing down. There's also the Hellstar shooting at you, and because you're split up a little bit, you don't quite have the same anti-mortar coverage. You're splitting this up because these projectiles here do insane splash damage, and as soon as all those are down, you're going to target the Hellstar, staying to the right side of this area of this ice patch here so that this Vulture Missile, if you are shooting at it and it's still alive here and you haven't killed it, gets blocked by the mountains from splash here. You do see I've taken a little bit of damage across a few ships. This is likely due to the Brimstone or also some of the Hellstar mortars that are floating over. That's down, so I'm going to select the second Hellstar missile with a shift click and move out through the ice field. If you stay just about where I'm going through the first one but not the second one, the first Hellstar will shoot at you here, but the one on the left side won't, that you can't see off to the left of the screen. Again, select this one to target it over targeting the random buildings here that don't matter, and you can stay stopped. Your anti-mortars will sometimes shoot down all the enemy mortars, sometimes won't. You have to get lucky if you're running with a lower projectile speed build here. Now comes the part that's a little bit tricky. Your goal is to kill this entire line of turrets here as well as some damage on the ship by killing these first 3 rigs here, the oil rig or whatever you want to call it. If you on the build I'm running, you spend all your damage shooting at the first one, you'll splash out too much of the target and kill this entire first one and the second one, but leave some of these turrets up. So what you have to do instead is shoot about 3 volleys off, and as soon as you start shooting, you turn around and run away. This ensures that the first one goes down, but the second one stays alive just long enough for you to target it at another 1 or 2 volleys. This way, these next 2 turrets will go down, but will go down before you actually have to target them with any kind of damage. Again, try and limit yourself to a few volleys here so the third one stays up so that you can kill these last couple turrets. You will get shot out a little bit by some of the other random stuff, projectiles here. That shouldn't matter too much. Spend all your time launching all the volleys you can on this one, deal the most damage. Hopefully you get a lot of damage off here on this last Gore Saber. Then splash kill this meteor mortar. Now the Hellstar, you want to move forward and select this, hopefully without being in range of the Vulture Missile, because that will do a little bit of damage to you that your countermeasures might not get everything when you're trying to shoot them down. So you can splash kill the Vulture Missile here by outranging it by using the Hellstar mechanic here. And you did see I got hit by one of the Hellstar special mortars. At this point, there's a couple radioactive fields in the target, which are sometimes in these exact positions, sometimes aren't. They appear to just be random. I'm going to wait for them to go away, And the tactic I'm going to use, or if not, I'm going to have to circle around on the other side or something, but you're slowed down by the ice fields. What I'm going to use is I'm going to use a small long pinch. Long pinches are for buildings, quick pinches are for ships, and the small just means it's an 11-minute build time, which isn't bad at all for this target. I'm going to launch this at this brimstone, kill the gore saber, and hopefully the brimstone before I can get a single shot off, so I engage with just the amount of damage I have on right now. I'm going to wait a minute and see if these red fields go away. There they went. So I'm going to press the R key to bring up the launching thing, click the brimstone, wait a second, and move away. Now I'm going to get as close as I possibly can, and I'm going to stay in range, and as soon as this is pinched, as soon as the rocket fires, I'm going to move forward. Okay, it is pinched here, and now I'm going to target the gore saber right here, which you do need to kill and you can outrange. It will do some amount of damage to you with some lower range rockets, and that's dead. I'm moving forward here as close as I possibly can to the brimstone, and if it unpinches before, if it unfreezes before I kill it, I have to split my ships up like this because it did get a shot off and will do some damage, and that is splash damage again as a reminder. Damage taken is just about what I would expect with my particular build. If you are running high velocity rounds, which I'll talk about when I go over the builds, you should take no explosive damage. It looks like I did take a tiny bit, a fraction of explosive damage. I have before had a run with 0 explosive damage, and I've also had a run with 0 penetrative damage, meaning my countermeasures worked against all of the vultures, and they also worked against all the brimstone, against all the brimstones from the first one, and the second one didn't get a shot off because I killed it when it was pinched. If you did do this target in 2 hints, you could use 2 pinches, one on the first brimstone, one on the second, but I didn't want to use that one. And by the way, I'm not running a crew. The ones I found weren't particularly helpful, and in some cases would mean that your splash damage on that third row of turrets was actually too much, so they would die before you were able to do anything, and your Molotov maidens would splash out that second rig there. Damage taken percentage-wise, explosive is 4%, and penetrative is 20% taken, with a decent amount of evaded / shot down. You can see that the damage taken was 11 minutes in this target. There are a couple other builds, and again, I'll talk about that in a second, that can do this for lower and can get below 5 minutes on map, which is instant repair. But I'm able to just go back in base and repair this instantly when I'm using a pinch. If I'm not, I sometimes might get 28 minutes, 33 minutes damage, but that's not a big deal to me. Now this target is tuned for not a full Everest fleet, and I don't have a full Everest fleet, and of course these are all U0, no flagship, no upgrades. This target may get tweaked a little bit in the future, and the future Everest targets will definitely be harder. You can even do this target with 1 ship if you want to, but don't necessarily think that my performance is indicative of the average player base and how they are doing this target. Future Everest targets, in addition, will get significantly harder than this one, at least that's what we've been told. Now let's talk about the build that I'm using here. You can see that it's the same on all 4 ships, by the way. I am using the combination of K2 and Strike System 5. This is to have projectile speed. You have to have that up at least to a certain amount. The projectile speed that I have on my ships, you can see is there. Let me find it. Projectile speed that I have is plus 137%. This is from Strike System 5, from some Combustion 2, from Hyper 30, and this is still not quite high enough, and I would prefer it to be higher because I'll remind you I am taking some explosive damage, which means that my anti-mortars are not good enough. So a different way, if I was building this for today's build and for today's target, if I was building Everest from scratch, I would go with high velocity rounds and RFX engine instead of the K2 bombardment system and Strike System 5. But I am not upset with my results. They could be a little bit better, and yes, it's the difference between 11 minutes of repair time and 4 minutes of repair time, which doesn't matter at all to me and is not worth spending a day or 2 per ship for changing my specials around. But if I was building from scratch today without having the upgrades, without having the flagship bonuses, RFX engine, and high velocity rounds would be the better choice. That said, there's my build. I will drop a Kixeye hash code in the YouTube description, and maybe as well on the description of wherever you are watching this. If you have any questions on the path I took, if you found something better, if you found a crew that helps, go ahead and leave a comment below and let me know. I hope this video helped. If you enjoyed the effort I put into this thing, go ahead and leave a like. And as always, this is Derpy, signing out, helping you be a better pirate.